Hey guys, how's it going? It's Baggins here, and today we are finally back with a new video on, of course, New World. And today we're going to be answering a lot of questions about healing, including which life staff should you be using when you hit level 60, where can you farm decent pieces of gear, why are we using Light's Embrace over Divine Embrace, when do we use Orb of Protection, so on and so forth. So if you guys find this video useful, please consider leaving a like, subscribe if you want to see more and you want to stay updated. We are very, very close to 100,000 subscribers. And very quickly, I want to give a big shout out to our new partnership with MSI. One thing that we're doing to celebrate our new partnership is giving away a 3060 Ti. MSI has very kindly supplied us with an amazing GPU to give away to one of you guys. So if you're interested in how you can enter into the giveaway, check out the link in the description down below. And of course, big shout outs to MSI. Thank you so much for this very generous gift, which I can then give away to you guys. So yeah, more information in the giveaway in the description down below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let's get on with it, shall we? So one of the questions that I get asked very, very frequently is, should you be aiming for Glimmering Mercy, which is the legendary life staff you get from the quest chain, or should you be going for your faction life staff, which you get by just farming out 50,000 faction tokens? Obviously, both of these are for end game healing. They are both requirement level 60. In order to get Glimmering Mercy and any legendary weapons in the game, or I call them legendary weapons, they're the 580 gear score weapons, you have to hit level 60, you have to have your weapon mastery at level 20 for the weapon that you want to go for, and you have to complete all your quests in Eastburn, followed by Cleaves Point, and then followed by Shattered Mountain. And then you're going to start seeing these quests pop up around the area, like this one here for the Ice Gauntlet. It says, gather components to make the legendary Ice Gauntlet Rime Lash. So Glimmering Mercy is somewhere around this location, if I'm not mistaken, and you have to gather components to make Glimmering Mercy. It does involve an incredible amount of time, as you have to go to various locations around the tournament and kill like 45 elites or something like that. So I had to do like a ton of elites in Periville, followed by a ton of elites down in Stoneskull Fort, and then a ton of elites in Eridanus, which is in Restless Shore, and then somewhere else, and then somewhere else, and it just keeps going. It is a very long, very slog quest chain, and naturally you'd be asking, is it worth my time going for that, or should I just be instead putting probably about half the amount of time into just farming out the faction tokens and then buying the faction life staff? And honestly, my answer is yes, just get the faction life staff. If we look at the two, the only real advantage that we have with Glimmering Mercy is it is a pretty huge gear score improvement. However, the faction life staff does have both Blessed and Refreshing Move, which in my opinion are best in slot talents for the life staff. Refreshing Move, to be able to reduce your cooldowns, means you can heal more often, and Blessed just means you can heal more. So both pretty valuable talents there compared to Glimmering Mercy. We've got Corrupted Bane and Accelerating Light's Embrace, which are maybe like C or B tier talents at best. There is one instance I've noticed where Glimmering Mercy does perform better than the faction life staff, and that is if you are stacking a lot of heal benefits. So Blessed, the plus 25% healing bonus, actually gets squished down the more healing bonuses you get. And what I mean by that is if you are rocking in your talent tree, which I suspect a lot of people are, if you have Intensify, maybe you're using Divine Blessing for the 30% more healing, and you're using Bend Light for 20% more healing, and you're using Protected Strength for 10% more healing. When you stack all of these sort of healing bonuses one on top of another, they actually end up squishing each other down to the point where Blessed doesn't become as worth it. So if you are able to maintain the stacks of Intensify in every fight that you do, and you're always doing the Bend Light to get the 20% extra healing, I have noticed that in those instances, Glimmering Mercy actually heals more because Blessed almost becomes redundant, like it doesn't exist anymore. It's just squished down so much. However, that is obviously the ideal. Certainly in wars or high stress situations where you can't maintain the perfect rotation, if your stacks fall off, then the faction life staff is just going to be better. Also, obviously, Refreshing Move means that your heals are going to be up more often, albeit it's only like 2.5%, but that does add up over longer fights. So yeah, the TLDR is go for the faction life staff, and then if you really want to and you have some spare time, you can go for Glimmering Mercy and use it in some fringe applications. But generally, like 95% 90% of the time, I do think the faction Lifestaff is the way to go. So moving on to another aspect of healing, but still related to what gear you should wear. One thing that we have been talking about very frequently on the stream is Steven's Claim. So if you are level 45 or higher, you can go to this area here called Steven's Claim. It's just to the right of Morningdale. Within this location, there are 3 named ghosts. There's Steven, Jason, and Alec, and each one of them can drop a ring. I think also Steven, is it Steven? Yeah, Steven drops a necklace as well, which I conveniently have in my bag here, called Morning Veil. So it's got Constitution and Focus on it. It's got Divine, which means that you can heal yourself for more. This is very useful in a PvP scenario, or of course, if the tank loses aggro, you need to quickly top yourself back up. Divine to receive more incoming healing from your own heals is pretty awesome. And then the rings, as I mentioned, we have the Memory of Jason, which isn't really that good. It's got Constitution and Focus on it, but the other things you don't really care about too much. And then we have the Memory of Steven and also the Memory of Alec, which I can't show you because I don't have in my bag, but I can show you on New World Database. Out of these 3 rings, I do think the Memory of Steven is probably the best because it's got nature damage, which is going to apply to both your Lifestaff and your Amber Gem, which you probably are running in your secondary weapon. And then we also have Sacred, which is huge. Sacred to give you more outgoing healing. Obviously, more outgoing healing is nice. It's like one of the best stats we can go for. It does suffer from diminishing returns, as we mentioned, but still, if you have the option to take it, then you go for Sacred. Lastly, we do have Strength and Focus on the ring. Strength isn't ideal. It will feed in if you're using like a Hatchet Lifestaff build or a Great Axe Lifestaff build, which I know a lot of people are these days. And then obviously Focus is like the main stat that we want. So yeah, nice rings, pretty easy to obtain. You just got to go over to Steven's Claim and kill the 3 ghosts over and over again. If you're unlucky like me, it could take you like an hour or 2 of farming them, but I've heard a lot of people get them like the first time they kill the ghosts. So if you are in need of some healing jewelry and you're around the 45 region, I would recommend checking out Steven's Claim. It does give some pretty damn good healing jewelry, which is pretty hard to come by in the grand scheme of things. In New World, jewelry is one of the more difficult things to acquire. For the late game, other things that you can farm, and I would highly recommend going for, is the Silver Leaf. Now, this can go all the way up to a 600 gear score. It is going to require that you farm it over and over again to see it drop at 600 gear score. And this drops from the elites over in the Eternal Pool. There's a big bear and 2 tentacles that guard the gates in Eternal Pool. Any of those 3 can drop the ring, and then there's also another big tentacle further on, which is guarding the sort of entrance to the arena over here. And then all of the sort of Dryad, Living Earth, Wolves can also drop the ring as well. So a lot of opportunities to farm out a really good ring here. You probably are going to need a group of 3 to 5 to take them on, potentially 10 for the bear, as he is no joke. Like, it just has so much health and hits so hard. But yeah, Silver Leaf, a pretty incredible ring. 2 other things that you can also go and farm kind of on your own is a Ice Gauntlet, which is a nice to pair with your Lifestaff. Ice Gauntlet Lifestaff is still a great support build if you're looking to play like full support. The Ice Gauntlet has some pretty like insane stats as well. It's honestly more useful for mages, but it's got Focus on it as well as Intelligence, which is always nice to see. You can get that and a Lifestaff called Giver's Green Gift from the skeletons in Lonely Climb. So there is one skeleton which spawns right about here, I want to say, somewhere in that area. And then there's another skeleton over here. I think their name is Sai Wang. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. And Dao Shen. And both of those can drop the Lifestaff, which is Giver's Green Gift. I'll pop that up on the screen here. And then the Ice Gauntlet, which we just showed earlier, which is called Ever Giving. So nice little farm spot there as well if you're looking to upgrade a few pieces of gear. Now, the next thing I want to touch on is armor and armor weights. Where should you be in terms of light, medium, heavy? Now, if you haven't already seen it, currently right now, the healing bonus that you get from light and medium is actually bugged out. So you don't actually get 20% bonus healing. You don't get any bonus healing when you're in light or medium, which is a bit disappointing. When the bonus healing comes in, I honestly think I'm still of the same mindset that I am now, where I'm still going to stick to this medium threshold. And that doesn't mean that I'm wearing full medium armor. The sort of combo that I personally go for, which keeps me just under the threshold, but also gives me a lot of damage resistances, is a heavy helmet, a heavy chest, medium gloves, light legs, and medium boots. The reason for me that I like sticking into medium is I get 3 dodges, which can be very useful in combat, especially when you're doing some dungeons and when you're in PvP. Being able to dodge not once, not twice, but 3 times to sort of counteract any abilities that are being thrown your way to stop yourself getting CC'd is very, very nice. If you're in light armor, you do get the dodge roll, which is pretty awesome, and you do get the bonus damage. But my experience with playing in light armor is you're very, very, very susceptible to getting one shot or two shot. And if you are dead on the ground, you're not going to be able to do any healing at all. So for me, light armor is just, it's not viable for end game right now. There's too many things that will just kill you or almost completely kill you. You're going to have to spend so much time healing yourself instead of healing your teammates. So that's why I don't like to go for light armor. However, on the flip side, we have heavy armor, which I do use in wars. My full heavy set is actually sitting in my storage shed right now, but if I just slap these on, we can go into the heavy load. The problem with heavy that I have is you only get the 2 dodges, and they're really pretty, like, it's hard to call it a dodge, honestly. It's like a little sort of side wobble that you do. But the massive damage resistances that you get with heavy armor, I do like to take those into war, as I do find myself pretty damn unkillable when I'm wearing a full heavy set and standing inside my sacred ground. It is very, very hard for people to deal with me, and as a result, they just have to focus on other people, which means they can then be healing the other people and just, you know, ultimately do the role of the healer. So heavy armor for wars, medium armor for everything else. That's my personal preference, and that's my reasons why behind that. Now, while we're on the topic of war, it's worth talking about builds. I do get pretty frequent questions as to why we're using Beacon, why we're using Light's Embrace. Not many people ask about Sacred Ground, as it's just generally understood that Blessed is like an insanely good talent. If you can get people to stand in your Sacred Ground, you're just going to heal them for so much. But why do we use Beacon over Orb of Protection? Right now, I just find that Beacon does more healing. It's a persistent heal, so it actually stays on the ground, so it's kind of not possible to miss it unless you fire it way off into the side. But Orb of Protection, you know, if your teammates like roll at the wrong time or get knocked out of something, then Orb of Protection kind of fails. It doesn't go off. Whereas Beacon can be here and then people can move back in and stand in it and just receive the heal. So I like Beacon just from that front, that it persists, and it's like kind of just there. People can see that it's happened. Whereas Orb, as I say, you might like sometimes miss the player with it. If it's gone, it's gone. Whereas like as I keep mentioning, Beacon does stay on the ground. That being said, in a war scenario, I do actually switch my build up quite a bit these days. I find Light's Embrace is actually pretty damn hard to cast on a target when there's so much going on. And the opponents that we've been playing against in particular in war, they are very big fans of the hammer, so you spend a lot of time just getting chain CC'd, getting knocked down, getting stunned, which means it's very hard to sort of like, you know, cast the ability, find your target, and then cast it on them. Even with targeted healing, it's still very difficult to acquire a target and quickly heal them. So the approach that I've been taking to war healing is just throw heals out on cooldown, just into the masses. And for that, I've actually been preferring to use Orb of Protection over the Light's Embrace. So this is the build that I have been running in wars for now. It is constantly in a state of flux, as I find that I might want to try something instead of something else. Something that I have been keeping my eye on is Splash of Light. Currently right now, there is not too much advantage to stacking lots of healers in wars, as heals actually overwrite one after the other, as we've been made aware of. So if you cast out an Orb of Protection or a Beacon, you'll just be overwriting somebody else's Beacon if you cast it in the same area. So as a result, if you have too many healers, you may be better off taking a Splash of Light in place of one of these abilities right now. I still find it really hard to give up the Bend Light, because I do like the 20% extra healing after you dodge. Even in a war scenario, just 20% extra healing at the press of a button it feels like it's not too difficult to maintain. There is some question as to maybe you drop Divine Blessing and instead take some of the buffs over here. Like, we would really like to get Protector's Touch, Protector's Strength, and also Glowing Focus, but we really are pretty limited in what options we can take over on the right side of the tree, because we need to put so many into the left side to get Divine Blessing. But yeah, that's a quick overview of my war healing build. Again, if you guys have further questions on it, feel free to check out the stream in the description down below. We're live for many, many hours every day. I can answer questions over there if you guys have anything specific, or you could leave them in the comments down below. One other question that pops up very frequently as well is, why do I use Light's Embrace, and what's my thoughts on Divine Embrace? Right now, I just think Light's Embrace is strictly better than Divine Embrace in almost every single way. It's got a shorter cooldown. It's got a shorter cast time. In case you guys don't know, Light's Embrace actually casts almost, it feels like twice as fast as Divine Embrace, so you can actually get them out more often. It costs less mana, and it actually heals more on a single target as well. Although when you're reading the tooltip, it says targeted heal for 100% weapon damage plus 30% for each buff, and this says it's 150% just as a default. It's actually very easy to get that to be 160% on more, and that is because we take Spirits United and Sacred Protection. So already innately, you're giving everybody in your party 2 extra buffs. buffs. So you can see I've got 2 buffs on me right now, so I'm already healing for 160% of the weapon damage because we're getting 30% for every buff. On top of that, if you eat food, or maybe you have a weapon that applies some sort of self buff like Bloodlust from the Great Axe, or you have stacks of empowerment from something like Greed, or basically anything in the game. You know, we could look at the Fire Staff, you have Clear Minds, or you have Pyromania. Any of these things do count as a buff on your character, which means Light's Embrace is going to heal them for more. So it's very, very easy to get that Light's Embrace to, at a minimum, 160%, and often sometimes like much higher than that, you know, going into the 200s, coming up to almost 300% of a weapon damage heal, which is just a huge single target heal, far, far bigger than Divine Embrace can ever hit. Obviously, one of the things that you might rebuttal with that is, well, Baggins, Divine Embrace can heal other people, so is that not worth it? It is a bit of an AoE heal. And to that, my usual response is it's a very specific like requirements to make that happen. It says if the target is below 50% and there's another ally within 8 meters and that ally needs healing in the first place, then it actually does some AoE healing. But that scenario doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's just the tank that's taking damage and no one else, in which case just Light's Embrace is much better. And honestly, if you want like access to AoE healing, you've got Sacred Ground, you've got Beacon, you've got Arbor Protection, you've even got Splash of Light. So I just find it's not a good single target heal, and it's like an irregular AoE heal. So Divine Embrace, just for me, like it feels like it's off the cards right now, and Light's Embrace is honestly just better. And that kind of does it for now, guys. Obviously, there are a lot more questions, and there are a lot more things that I could talk about in the game relating to healing. However, I did want to keep this video under 20 minutes, so hopefully we've managed to achieve that. If you guys did enjoy this one, as a reminder, please go ahead and click the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. Super excited to reach that 100,000 subscriber milestone. Thank you so much for all of your support. Again, if you have any questions that I didn't answer in today's video, feel free to drop them in the YouTube comments down below, or come into the stream and ask me live. I try to answer as many questions as I can every day. So yeah, look forward to seeing you guys there. And as always, I'll see you guys all in the next one.